Now we can look on to more components, which are, let's look on to label and checkbox, which would be some components which you will be dealing with. Also text area, we'll look on to every one of them one by one. Okay, let's add a text area to it now. Text area a1 equals, let's give a label to it. Contents. Similar to buttons, text area has got a different listener which is called as item listener, no, key listener, so which you can see here. So different components have different listeners. Okay, so one of them is label, which has got action listener. When we click on it, some action is performed, and some has got some other methods, text field. Okay, it's out there in this PDF, you can check onto it. All right, I'm not wasting any time. Let's go for, I'll just show it to you, that will be much better, isn't it? So we have something called as key listener. All right, let's add something called as a label as well. Let's explain both on one go. Label L1 equals new label. So let's give a label to our label, which is let's say number of status TA. Let's say it's status TA, and we'll add that label in a while. Let it be there for a while. This text area can be given a function. It is not added to our, so let's add it, make it A1. Let's make our frame a little more bigger. That can be done by using our set size method. We might need a bigger frame, bigger the better, right? So we have a bigger frame now. We added the text area. Let's provide a function to it as well. So like I said, like button, text area has got another listener called as item listener. I mean key listener. So it can be done by using two methods, either by implementing the key listener interface or by extending the key adapter class. Since it's better to use only we just need one function, which is key pressed within this interface. So we are going to use key adapter, else you'll have to implement all these methods. So we'll use just this method, key pressed, and implement that method. So for key pressed, we'll use some function. Let's output something, output a text, system dot out dot Intellij. I'm not used to this keyboard, that's why I'm messing the keys up. Let's see what happens. So as soon as I press a key within this text, we have our text area, it is having the label. When I press a key in this, you can see the output over here. So pressing backspace, we have this output as key is pressed, and as I press it further, we can get the key, we'll get this message called as keys pressed. So that is the key listener, which this function is triggered and the key is actually pressed. So we don't actually need that now, so let's just get rid of it. Let's give a function to our let's give another function. Let's give another button. Okay, button b3, right? b3 equals new button. find. Let's say we have a button to find out the number of words which was entered in our text area. Let's give a little more of a complex function. So we have another label as well. We are going to add the button as well as the label. P3, and we are going to add the label L1. So let's add a function to our button B3. It can be done by using add action listener, B3 dot action listener, new action listener, and we have an action performed, which can be overridden. So what we have to do is to get the number of words in the text what we enter in the text area, right? That can be done by using this function called as split, which you might be familiar with if you have used any other languages like Python. Let's create a string s1 equals let's say a1 dot get text, which will actually give all the text to our string and store it in s1. And we have to create another string, string, let's say it's an array, equals s1 dot split. So we have to give a delimiter here. For now, let's give comma. Let's make it interesting, and we can output it L3 dot, okay, it's L1 dot set text, and let's say it's array dot length. Length function can be used to figure out the number of, okay, this is not a integer, so let's wrap it with string dot value of. So this gives us the number of words. Actually, we actually entered a few texts and we provide the delimiter comma. It divides it with the delimiter comma and stores into this array, and the number of words in this array can be figured out by this function length. So let's see if it works. That has to work. Okay, so let's give comma, let's say apple, grape. Let's find number of words. It gives me 4, which is exactly the number of words. O-R-A-N. Okay, yeah, forget the spelling. Yeah, 5. That pretty much works. Our function actually worked. So that is pretty much what we need of text area and label. We'll still be using it. Now let's go for a different component, a little more complex components. What about checkbox? There's a component called as checkbox. If you look onto this PDF, the implementation of almost all the commands are kind of similar. So we'll look onto the commands which are different from the commands that we actually implemented. Rest is something you can actually get. This chapter is not very complicated. It's just more based on theory. You have to like by heart the functions and stuff. So let's say we need a button. What we need is checkbox. Checkbox c1 equals new checkbox. So we have a checkbox here. Let's not give a label to it. Let's keep it like that. Let's add a function to it. So like text field and text area, checkbox has a different listener, which is item listener, which is what I said earlier. So let's give an item listener to a checkbox. c1 dot add add item listener and a new item listener. So we have a function within this class, within this plus item listener as item state change, which you have to override. So let's override that function. So we have to figure out the state of our checkbox, and if it is changed, if it's actually checked, let's print checked, and if it is not checked, let's print unchecked. That can be done by using a function which we will see. Okay, right. So our event is done by get state change is the function which you have to use. Let's wrap it around an if class. Let's say v equals 1. It has got two states, 0 and 1. So if it's 1, we are going to print system.out.println checked, and if it is not, let's say unchecked. So we have checked and unchecked here. Let's see. Oh, we haven't actually added our item. So let's add it, our checkbox. Right then, let's see if it works. Oh, we have a tiny little text box out here. Let's see what happens when we check it. Checked, and if it is not checked, it is unchecked. Checked, unchecked, checked, unchecked. So it works. So that is item listener, which is not just available for text box. There are other components that you can use which have item listener as its listener. So we don't need that for now. Let's just, okay, let it be there. Let's continue with the other ones. After checkbox, we have a choice box. So checkbox is what we implemented right now. We just gave the same function here, and we have choice component, which is like our MCQ paper. If you attended online examinations and they have 4 options and we are only supposed to select one of the options, then what we have is choice component. And similar to choice component, we have the next item, which is list, which is very similar to choice, just that we can select multiple options. So both are kind of the same. If you learn one, you can obviously learn the other. So let's try list. Okay, choice is kind of very similar. You can get more information from the PDF. So let's go for list. Next one, which is list. So it's pretty easy. Let's just copy paste it, because it's kind of the same thing. We are entering a repetitive stuff. We just need this. I'll explain it to you how it's actually done. Copy, and let's go to our Intellij idea. Let's give a little space to our list. So we have a final element, which is list, so that it can be modified later once it is initialized, and we named it fruit list. So list fruit list equals new list. So we create a new instantiated our list, and it had 2 parameters in the constructor. So this list can have 0 parameters, 1 parameter, or 2 parameters. 0 parameters is it has nothing, and 1 parameter is it can just, this can be there, the number of rows, and 2 parameters is what you see right now. So number of rows tells you how many options are supposed to be there in the list, which is 4 here. So in the fruit list we have apples, grapes, mango, and pear. Since we have to add options to it, we use the variable name dot add and the component, then the option, that's apple, mango, grape, and apple, grape, mango, and pear. And multi-mode is like, if multi-mode is kept as false, we'll only be able to select one of them at a time, and if it is kept as true, we can select multiple one of them. Let's add a function to it and see, okay, right, we'll do that. Let's create one more button. It would be very useful now. I'll explain to you why I created that. Button before equals new button. Let's comment it for now. Let's see what happens when we add this fruit list into our frame. Okay, now we have a fruit list. So this is our fruit list, and we can only select one of them. That is because we gave the multi-mode as false. If we give it as true, we can select multiple one. And let's run it again. See what happens. And that should let us connect to multiple one of them. Now let's give it as false and give some function to it. Let's give a listener to it. Okay, so we have a button here which we could possibly use now. Let's say if we wanted to get all the items which were selected in this fruit list, so let's display all of them, display what is actually selected. Now let's keep it as false now for the purpose of our function. And we're gonna give the label get selected in list, and let's add a function to a button. Let's add the button to before. Now we added the button and we need to give a function to it. So okay, b1 dot add action listener. Now we are going to use a different function which you might not be familiar with, which is shown in this PDF. I feel hungry. Yeah, thinking about fruits and all. I haven't eaten anything in like 6 hours, and it's morning. I've not been sleeping now to get a good meal. Okay, so right, we can use this function called as get selected index to figure out the number of indexes which are selected. Let's say okay, so let's copy this. Intellij platform, let's give a output statement. I'm going to paste whatever I copied here. Fruits. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to print out this thing called as fruit, this string fruit, and after that I'm going to give the get nodes to figure out the items which were in the fruit list and find the selected index. This semicolon is not necessary, and paste it out in our terminal. Let's see if it works. We did add the button, so it should work. Let's see. All right, let's select grapes and get selected index. Okay, it didn't work. Okay, something went wrong. Let's see. where I went wrong. Alright, so we got fruit list and we created the button, and oh okay, we get for button 1, right? So that was for button 4. Now it should work. Right, and grapes, yeah, we are getting the output mango, apple, and pear should give us pear. That's pretty much how we do it. So that is what we have about list, and almost all of the menus are kind of similar. Okay, this is a little different menu item, so let's work on menu item as well, and I'm going to leave the rest to you because it's very easy to study. You can go through the PDF for documentation. You can go to Chrome and type in Oracle documents. You can get a lot of documentation from Oracle. I'll show it to you at the end of the video. So let's do menu bar. Okay, so let's go to our Intellij idea, create a menu bar. So it's pretty crowded out here. Let's clear this all off. Yeah, we're just going to work on menu bar, right? So it's fine. We're going to do, not going to do anything much. Let's give a little space to it. Menu bar m equals new menu bar. It does not take any parameters, so we have nothing. We can't enter a string here. So menu item, so I'll explain it if you are not getting it. Let's say m1 equals new not okay, we need a menu, not a menu item. This can actually take a label, so that's a menu name. Going to give it rows, and I'm going to copy paste this. Okay, right, my mouse is hung up on a wire. Right, it should work now. Alright, I'm going to give the second menu item m2, and as joy, the third one would be m3. I'm going to give it as Monica. Now we have 3 menu. So this is how it works. We have a menu bar, right? Like in this window you can see a file, edit, view, navigate, this many small menu bar, and within that we have some menus. So let's say this is the menu bar, and file, edit, view, these are the menus, and within that menus we can contain other menus, menu items as you may call it. So that's exactly what we are doing now. We have a menu bar, we have menus, and within that menu we will have some menu items. So let's give some menu items to it. Before that we will have to add our menu bar to the frame. So that can be done by using add menu bar function. Oh no, okay, it's not by add, set menu bar. Give the variable, and that should do it. That has to be done after doing all these, so I give it at the last, and we are going to add these menus to it as well. Before that we'll add the menu items. Menu item, see I1 equals new menu item. Oh okay, we don't need to do that actually, so we can say m1 dot. So let's add, for rows we can give, say it's the best friend in my perspective. Oops, there might be haters, but you know. Now let's go back. So add best friend m2 dot. No, let's add one more to it. Let's say Rose is what? Good friend. Okay, so that's 2 for Rose, and let's give one for Joy, M2 2 dot. Oops. M2 dot add. Let's say funny friend. Everyone is funny. E-N-T. And they can give one for Monica as well. She didn't want to be left out, does she? Especially left out by Chandler. Let's say thirsty friend. Alright, so we have our menu bar. We did add it to our menus, and we have to add our menus to our menu bar as well. That can be done by m dot add, give m1, we added rows, m dot add the m2 dot add m3. So we added all the menus, we set the menu bar, we have everything, I believe. Let's see if it works. The moment of truth. Has to work, right? Okay, so we have our menu bar out here. Rose is the best friend and the good friend, Joy is the funny friend, and Monica is the thirsty friend. So that's pretty much how we do it. Our close button works, our numbers work, our result is there, contents are there. So that's almost everything that we need in the examination point of view or the university point of view. But if you want to dig deeper, there are a lot of other things that you can explore into. There is something called as mouse listener. So when mouse is entered, mouse is clicked, mouse is exited, we have different functions. We can implement different functions. It's kind of the same way. It's more about theory rather than any complications. If you want to get more theory based on this, the best place you can go to is go to Chrome, and you can just type in docs for Java, like AWT. You can go to Oracle docs, which would appear somewhere around here. Yeah, Oracle docs is probably the best place where you can get documentation of Java. And you can go to Java Point as well, where we have a decent amount of documentation. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Thank you for coping up with me all this time. And I know the noise is not very good. You got background noise and the audio quality is poor. Thank you for coping up with me. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands. Bye bye.